Okay, besties. It's been 10 years in May since I've gotten my tummy tuck and BBL. Was it worth it? Well, let's talk about it. Well, first, I want to explain why I got the BBL in the first place. I was, 22, 23? I think 22 at the time. I just had 2 kids. My first pregnancy was twins. During that pregnancy, I had preeclampsia. I had a lot of extra fluid in my stomach. There was this weird pocket of fluid like at the bottom of my stomach. And once I gave birth, my stomach just was never the same. There was no way that that was gonna snap back. In addition, my body just wasn't what I was used to. I mean, when I was in school, I was pretty fit. I was in like fitness training, things like that, and my body was, a certain way. When I was younger, I was pretty athletic. I was a swimmer, things like that. So when my body began to change, I started to gain weight due to all of the emotional imbalances. I just felt like a completely different person. I'm like, who is this person? I don't know who this is. I would look in the mirror. What? Who is that? I don't know who that is. When I was in high school, my confidence wasn't like so bad. I was pretty okay. So the guys that I know in my life now, they like look down on me because I gained so much weight. And when I was pregnant, I got up to my highest weight, which was, I believe it was 265. 265. I'm only 5'2", guys. 265. Anyway, my body was not what it was, and due to that, I was in a depression. Matter of fact, and this is tea for another time, but I was already depressed when I had the kids. But once I gave birth to my children, it was like a whole nother ballgame. I remember at the time, my husband had joined the military, actually, before my first pregnancy. I believe he enlisted maybe 2 or 3 months. No. He enlisted about a month or 2 before I gave birth to the twins. And I remember when he came home after giving birth to the twins, I was just embarrassed. My stomach was hanging. Like, I didn't want him to see me like that. Yeah. And I remember after having my second pregnancy, I just couldn't take it anymore. I'm like, I want my body back. So I began to look online. I'm like, what can I do? Like, I need to get in the gym. I need to do something. I can't continue to look like this. And I remember coming across surgery and the whole BBL thing. And at the time, it wasn't so trendy as it is now. So it wasn't as much information online about it. And I was just like, no, I don't think that's an option. But let me try maca. No. I did end up trying maca root. Yeah, I just couldn't stomach it. But anyway, I didn't know what to do. And at the time, surgery just seemed like, no, I can't afford that. I don't have a job. How am I going to afford, getting the surgery? I have young kids, that need their mom. And how can I, be out of commission for, a couple weeks? No, like, no. Um, I remember just rejecting the idea outright. After some time, though, I was like, yeah, I think surgery might be the way to go. Yeah, I think I think I'm on to something. And it became something that consumed me. I was looking online, researching all the doctors. I'm like, who's the best doctor? And not just the best doctor, but the best doctor for my situation. The way that I look, my stomach was hanging. I had like mega stretch marks. Like, yeah. At the time, I felt like the doctors in the US, they weren't serving. Yeah, they were doing a little something, but they weren't doing anything. But I did see some doctors in DR, and their results were like life-changing. I felt like, yeah, I need to look into that. Yeah, I need to find out. I need to look into this. Now, after some research, I came up with the big doctors there: Dr. Cabral, Dr. Duran, Dr. Yili. There were a few other ones, but those were the three main contenders at the time, or at least based on my research. I remember people talking about like deaths with Dr. Cabral, and I just didn't feel comfortable. Now, he does deliver great work, don't get me wrong. I like his work. Sometimes it's a bit much, but I'm assuming that's just what the patient asked. But Dr. Duran, she's pretty good as well. I didn't really have an issue with her, but I just felt like Dr. Yili was the best option for me when I was looking. I felt like she was going to give me the shape that I wanted. And I feel like 10 years later, it's not her fault. I gained 70 pounds total. I ended up losing about 20 in the past, like maybe like 4 months. That's tea for another time. But I did want to get on here and let you know about my 10-year update, and let you know that I do think it's worth it. I definitely think it's worth it. However, the reasons that I got the surgery in the first place was because I didn't feel like me anymore. Now, the surgery didn't quite put me back to me. And what I mean by that is, when I went to DR and there was an interpreter, she was interpreting between me and Dr. Yili. Dr. Yili was asking what I wanted, and I'm trying to explain, like, this is what I want. At the time, she had an assistant. Her name was Yira. And Yira, I felt like her butt was in proportion, but she still had like a nice round curvy figure. And I said, yes, that's what I want to look like. Even though Yira was much smaller than me, but I said, I want to look like that. I want to be in proportion, but I still want to be curvy. Now, I do think she did her job. I don't think I have like a huge badunkadunk. And I don't think that it's like ridiculous like some people may like. But I still don't think it was like me. And the reason why I say that is because with the liposuction, and it's pretty aggressive, I feel like it takes all the fat out of your back. So now that I've been gaining weight, it's like weight is gaining in my stomach, weight is gaining in my thighs, in my arms. again, story for another time. Look at these arms. But the liposuction that's aggressive in the back, when I lay flat on my back, I feel like I couldn't lay flat completely. And even 10 years later, I feel like, yeah, it still feels weird. Like, it's not normal. Also, for many years, I want to say maybe 6 or 7 years, probably even 8. Like, my stomach, I couldn't, it's this weird feeling. Like, I can touch my stomach and it, like, I can feel it, but I can't. Like, it's numb almost. I don't like that feeling. I don't know if that was a tummy tuck or the liposuction, but 10 years after, I can definitely feel my stomach now. When I touch it, it feels pretty normal. I don't feel any, weirdness. Another thing that didn't quite get me back to me was there's aggressive liposuction in your back and in your sides, the tummy tuck in the front, but what about the pubic area? It was like really like fat, and I'm just like, yeah, nobody told me about this. Like, what are we gonna do about this? Yeah. And I do plan to get a touch-up, not a BBL, but I didn't get my breast done 10 years ago. At the time, I wasn't comfortable, or I didn't feel confident that I was gonna get the result that I would like. And because my breasts are like extremely, extremely saggy. I remember with my children, the twins, I was breastfeeding them. I breastfed one for 30 minutes, the next one 30 minutes, 2 hours later, back at it again. And my breast became like 2 watermelons. I remember sitting on the edge of the bed, just looking down like, what in the world? What just happened? Like, what? I was like, yeah, no, 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 no. And I remember when I stopped breastfeeding, they just deflated. And I used to take pride in my breasts. When I was younger, like I did have a figure. When I was younger, I mean, I do think they were pretty huge. They were like double to triple D's, and I was like in high school, like 100, probably 135 pounds, double D. But, I was serving. But sag, they just like, the nipples point to the floor, and like all that extra oomph in the breast from when I was breastfeeding, it just like disappeared. And like now I have like, I still have volume, but it just seems like a deflated balloon. Like, I don't know if you see a hot air balloon and it like collapses and then it inflates again. Yeah, when I gained weight, when I gained the 70 pounds, they started to inflate again. But when I lose weight, it's like they just deflate. Anyway, I didn't feel quite back to myself, but I did want to mention, although I do think it's worth it, I definitely think it's worth it, it doesn't solve all your problems. Now, I had self-esteem issues. I felt like before me and my now husband, but he was my boyfriend at the time, I felt like we were equal in looks. But after I got married and had kids, it was like, now I'm like lesser. Oh my goodness. Like, I have to catch up. like, oh, he's better than me. And my self-confidence took a hit. And with the BBL, I was able to gain a little bit more confidence, and I was able to feel like we're on a level playing field again to an extent. But it didn't fix all the things that were wrong with my mind. There were things that I didn't realize were there at the time, things that needed healing that were not healed, and due to that, I ended up gaining 70 pounds. Due to that, I ended up in, terrible situations. And the guys, they don't treat you any better. Just because you got a BBL doesn't mean that they're gonna, now become, a king and treat you like a queen. Like, yeah, these are things that I didn't realize at the time. But anyway, next video, I may talk about my weight loss journey. I also want to tell you guys about, I don't know, there's just so much things to unpack. But when I started this channel, I was just like in my grind. I was in the gym. I was happy. I was, doing what I needed to do. And I was seeing results. Like I had a certain vision. But right after launching the channel, the enemy infiltrated my camp. And, all I can say is I'm glad that I'm healing from it. And I'm glad that I'm moving past it. But I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm still here. Whether I gain 70 pounds or not, I'm still going to serve. And I'm back. Bye, besties.